Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SUNY Potsdam broadcast of Bears softball. Today they host the St. Lawrence University Saints. We are about to start Game 1 here at Maxey Softball Field, and we'll take you around the defense real quick for the Bears. Sam Horn in the circle, Calissa Young behind the plate, Cadence Cronin at first base, Chloe Cutroff at second, Alexis Rosick at short, Madeline Wasserman at third. In left field, Hannah Fagan. In center, Peyton St. Clair. And in right field, Sophia Pleat. And we'll run through the Saints starting lineup, the batting order here. Leading off and playing second base is Maeve Thompson. Batting second and playing center field is Kaylin Yonley. Batting third and playing third base is Allison Kloft. Batting cleanup and playing right field is Isabel Moreno. Batting fifth and playing first base is Leah Verschneider. Batting sixth and playing left field is Marina Wan. Batting seventh, the designated player today, Marley Monroe. Batting eighth and catching for the Saints today is Emily Crane. And batting ninth and playing shortstop is Emily Wendt. The pitcher for the Saints, the flex player, is Madison Smith. And so we are just about ready to start here. Again, Sam Horn on the mound for the Bears. First pitch taken, actually that's a strike. Slow call there by the home plate umpire, but it is a strike one. Horn ahead of Thompson, 0-1. That one looked even better, and it is 0-2 to Thompson now. Thompson comes into today's game batting .325. So one of the top hitters for the Saints. That one is hit high and deep down the left field line and foul. Did that go over the fence? It did go over the fence. So she got into that one pretty good, but it was probably about 10, 15 feet foul. So count still 0-2. Horn is set. Thompson chops one into the dirt for another foul ball, so she stays alive. 0-2 still. Again, Kaylin Yonley, the center fielder, is on deck for St. Lawrence. Here's the 0-2. That is looped into left field. That's going to be a base hit, a leadoff hit for the Saints. Thompson's aboard with Yonley coming up. First pitch to Yonley, chops it up the middle, past the diving Rosick, and the Saints have runners at first and second with nobody out. So here's the third baseman, Allison Kloft, trying to keep things going for St. Lawrence. She takes ball one high. That's lined up the middle for a base hit. And Thompson's going to come around to score. Bobbled there. Yonley will stop at third, so Kloft with an RBI single. And that'll make it 1-0 St. Lawrence. So here is Isabel Moreno, the right fielder, batting cleanup. Moreno batting .284. And swung on and missed there. They throw down to second. They've got a runner in the rundown. Now That's thrown away. So a run will come in on the play. So Kloft drew the throw to second, and then it was thrown away at home, and that makes it 2-0. So Moreno now batting with nobody out and a runner at second. That is taken low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. 2-0 St. Lawrence. And that's bobbled by the shortstop. Rosick recovers, but not in time. So Moreno will reach on an error. Kloft will hold her ground at second. So still nobody out. 2 runs in for St. Lawrence, and here's Leah Verschneider, the first baseman. That is hit high into shallow right field underneath his pleat, makes the grab, fires to third, and that'll be cut off by Horn, the runner at second. Kloft will advance. So there's the first out of the inning. So here is the left fielder for St. Lawrence, Marina Juan. We've got runners at the corners. And 1 out for Juan. That is taken. Throw down to second again. Charging in is Kutroff. And the runner at third, Kloft, will hold. So a stolen base there for Moreno. Here's the 0-1. Chopped foul down the third base line. 0-2 now to Juan. The 0-2 from Horn. And that is on the outside corner. Actually missed the outside corner, so it's 1-2. Not sure. Juan kind of stepped across the plate. Didn't know if she thought it was strike 3. The 1-2. That's going to be looped into left center field. That's going to score 2, and that'll make it 4-0 St. Lawrence. So a 2-run single for Marina Juan, and the Saints are up 4-0 in the first with 1 out. So here's Marley Monroe, the designated player for St. Lawrence, and she takes strike 1. So 1 out, runner at first. 4 runs in already for St. Lawrence. Here's the 0-1 to Monroe. That is just high, maybe a little bit off the plate too. 1-1. There's a high fly ball to center field. St. Clair is underneath it, makes the grab. Runner will hold. That's the second out. So an F8 there. And that will bring up the Saints catcher, Emily Crane. Horn looking to minimize the damage here in the top of the first. And timeout call by Crane, and she'll get it. That one misses the outside corner, so it's 2-0. Crane, the 8th hitter of the inning so far. Chopped to third, picked up by Wasserman. She'll fire to first high. That's over Cronin, and she'll advance. Crane will go to second on the E5, and Juan will hold at third. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Emily Wendt, for St. Lawrence. She is the second leading hitter on this team for the Saints. Comes in batting .333, so a chance to do some more late damage here for St. Lawrence. And she takes strike one. Big out here for Horn if she can get it. Base hit would score 2 more. And Wendt takes that one inside, 1-1. So far, the Saints have scored 4 runs on 4 hits and 4 errors. And they have runners at second and third. Here is the 1-1 from Horn. Takes it on the outside corner. Ball and 2 strikes now. One-two, hit to Wasserman at third. She fires to first, and that'll retire the side. But the Saints score 4 times in the top of the first on 4 hits and 4 errors. They lead. So the Bears shortstop, Alexis Rosick, will lead it off for Potsdam, trying to get the Bears going here. They trail 4-0 in the bottom of the first. She fouls that first pitch back. Rosick comes into today hitting .373. He's got 8 extra base hits, 5 doubles, 3 triples, and a homer. Now that one is lined just foul down the first base line. Hit that one pretty hard, and for Schneider went up for it, just over her glove, but it fell foul. So Rosick behind 0-2. That one is fouled away. Count remains 0-2. And Emily Birmingham, the Bears' designated player, on deck. Followed by Peyton St. Clair, the center fielder, Madeline Wasserman, the third baseman, batting cleanup. Here's the 0-2 to Rosick. That is low. Good scoop there by Crane, or good block, I should say. And it is 1-2 to Rosick now. Sam Horn will bat 5th. Followed by the second baseman, Chloe Kutroff, Sophia Pleat, Calissa Young, and that is inside. Count even 2-2. Rosick has worked her way even. And then the 9th batter will be Cadence Cronin. The flex in left field, Hannah Fagan, will not bat. Here's the 2-2. That is chopped to short. Picked up there by Wendt. Fires the first in time. A 6-3 put out there for the Bears' leadoff hitter. So Birmingham, who has seen most of the starts for the Bears in the pitcher circle, will step in here. She's batting .379 on the season. And takes a strike there, 0-1. That is high, a ball and a strike. That is outside, well outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Madison Smith facing her first batter here. She's got a 4-0 lead. Second batter, first inning. That is taken for a strike. Count is even now, 2-2. That is low and inside. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Smith working with a full count. Birmingham trying to get something going for the Bears with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. That is fouled back. Still 3-2. Peyton St. Clair on deck, and she's been the Bears' best hitter this year, coming into today 403. So important for Birmingham to get aboard. That is popped up. Crane is underneath it and makes the grab. Just kind of hung up there, nice for her, and she didn't have a lot of trouble with it. So 2 up, 2 down for Potsdam in the bottom of the first. Here's St. Clair, as I said, batting .403 on the season. Earlier, a couple weeks ago, she was the SUNYAC Player of the Week. She's got 3 homers this year, leads the team in RBIs with 17. She's tied for lead in hits with 31. And that looks low. Ball and no strikes to St. Clair. Here's the 1-0. That is fouled back to the screen. 1-1 now. Again, the Saints struck for 4 in the top of the first. Some good hitting and some tough defense for Potsdam. But Sam Horn worked out of a jam with runners at second and third. Could have been worse. Here is the 1-1. That is popped up foul. That's going to go over the Saints dugout and into the bullpen. So a ball and 2 strikes. The count remains the same. The 1-2, that is hit high, but well foul and out of play. Over the bleachers on the third base side of the field. That is low and inside, 2-2 now. Smith looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Here's the 2-2. That is fouled long and well out of play down the right field side. Two is popped up high, drifting towards the dugout, and she made the grab. Leah Schneider out of my vision, but right in front of her own dugout. So the Bears go down 1-2-3 in the first inning, and we'll be back with the top of the second as the Saints have their second at bats. There's a hard hit ball. Nice stab by Wasserman. Fires to first in time. So good defense there by the Bears in the top of the second to retire Maeve Thompson. So 5-3 there, and that'll bring up Kaylin Yonley. Like Thompson, she singled and scored in the first inning. Horn looks in, she squares, pulls back, and that is a strike. Here's the 1-0. That is fouled back. 1-1 to Thompson. Actually 0-2 to Thompson. Here we go. Chopped into right field for a base hit there. Kutroff was in looking for the bunt, and that kind of took away some of her range, and it was placed perfectly by Yonley there. So a runner aboard with one out, and that's going to bring up Allison Kloft. Kloft with an RBI single the first, drove in the first run of the game. And she is the Saints' leading hitter coming into the game. Before that base hit in the first, she was hitting .455 on the year. Very good numbers there. First pitch, and there goes the runner, and she is in safe, so stolen base for Yonley. So aggressive base running gives the Saints a runner in scoring position with one out here in the top of the second. Here's the 0-1. Knocked down by Young, but the runner advances. So wild pitch moves her over, moves Yonley over. And now she's just 60 feet away. Here's the 1-1. And that's low and inside. 2 balls and a strike to Kloft. Isabel Moreno is on deck for St. Lawrence. Saints lead it 4-0 here. One out, runner at third base in the top of the second. Here's the 2-1. That is up and away. 3 balls and a strike now. Through one pitch, chopped foul, and the count is full. Horn again looking for and needing a big out here. 3-2 to Kloft. And that is chopped to Kutroff, makes a nice grab there and gets the out, 4-3, but that is an RBI for Kloft, and that'll make it 5-0. So here is Moreno, and there are 2 outs now, nobody aboard for the Saints right fielder. She reached on an error, stole a base, and came around to score in the first inning. That is ripped foul. It wasn't foul by much, probably an inch or 2, but it's still a loud strike, 0-1. Oh, 1 to Moreno. Hit hard to short. Rosick picks it up, fires to first, and that'll retire the side. So the Saints get a run on one hit. They lead it 5-0 through 1.5. The Bears will be up in the bottom of the second. So Madeline Wasserman will lead off the bottom of the second here for Potsdam. She had a great defensive play to start the top of the second, and she takes ball one there, diving to her backhand and throwing out a runner at first. So 1-0 to Wasserman. And Wasserman comes into today hitting .316. That is up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Sam Horn on deck, followed by Chloe Kutroff. Swings through that one. Good heat from Smith, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Swung on and missed there. Count is even. Smith was behind 2-0. Has used 2 good fastballs to get things back to 2-2. And that misses. Count is full. And swung on and missed, so Smith comes all the way back to get the first strikeout of the game. And that'll bring up her counterpart, Sam Horn. Bears still looking for their first hit, as we are just in the bottom of the second. First pitch to Horn, that is laced foul down the first base line. Again, Kutroff on deck for the Bears. If Horn or Kutroff reach, then that would bring up right fielder Sophia Pleat. Here's the 0-1. That is high, 1-1. Good eye there by Horn. A little deceptive. I think it rose at the end. Here's the 1-1. Again, chop foul. That might have gone into the dugout. Or off the screen in front of it. So ball and 2 strikes to Horn. Horn has split the starting pitching duties with Birmingham. She came in today hitting .299. 1-2 to Horn. That is fouled away over the Saints dugout. The 1-2 is up and away. Count is even now, 2-2. The umpires today, Alan Giddings behind the plate and Charles Langlois at first base. That is fouled back by Horn, and the count remains 2-2. Another 2-2 offering from Smith. That is looped up the first baseline, picked up by Thompson, throws to first, and Horn is retired on a 4-3 putout. And that'll bring up Chloe Kutroff, the Bears' second baseman. Kutroff, a freshman from Marcellus. And she has 13 base hits this year. Swings through the first pitch, 0-1. A 1 from Smith is high, 1-1. And that is low. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1, swung on and missed. 2-2 now. Saints lead at 5-0 here in the bottom of the second. They got 4 in the first and 1 in the top of the second. 2-2, and that is fouled. I think it might have gone off the mask of Emily Crane, the Saints catcher. Either that or the chest protector of Alan Giddings, the home plate umpire. Count even, 2-2. That is pop foul over the backstop. Two-two. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Smith, and she's got 6 in a row retired to start this one. So after 2, it is St. Lawrence. So here we are to start the third inning. Leah Verschneide, the Saints' third baseman, will step in. She is 0 for 1, flying out to right field in the top of the first. And that one is on the outside corner, 0-1. Marina Juan is on deck for St. Lawrence. And the Saints struck for 4 in the top of the first, 1 last inning. That is chopped to third and off the glove. So an E5 there to start things off for the Saints in the top of the third. So that'll bring up Marina Juan. Juan is 1 for 1, had a 2-run single in the top of the first. So nobody out here, one runner aboard for Juan. First pitch from Horn. That is hit hard down the left field line, but well foul. Here's the 0-1. And that's going to be looped into right center and fall. So a base hit there for Juan. And we have runners at first and second and nobody out for the Saints. So that'll bring up Marley Monroe, the designated player for St. Lawrence. Monroe flew out to center field in the first inning. She's 0 for 1. And that one is off the plate for ball 1, 1-0. And is hit to third, but it is foul. Probably lucky for the Bears there. Wasserman got her glove on it, but not real clean. And it would have been a hard throw to get anybody from that angle anyway. So the count is even at 1-1. That is high, 2 balls and a strike. Again, the Bears entering today's game at 9-17. The Saints are 13-11. 2-1 to Monroe. That is popped into right field. Charging is Pleat. Makes the grab. And the runner, Verschneider, advances to third. Nice play by Pleat. Had a good long run to get there, but retires Monroe for the first out. So runners at the corners now with one out for the Saints catcher, Emily Crane. Crane reached on an error and was stranded in the top of the first. She squares, pulls back. There goes the runner. Charging in is Kutroff to cut it off. So a stolen base there for Juan. But Kutroff prevented the runner Verschneider from trying to score on the play. So it is 0-1 to Crane. Swung through that one. I think that dropped out away from her. So 0-2 to the Saints catcher. Oh, 0-2 pitch. That is skied, and it will get out of play. Actually, no, just stayed in play, but it was up against the backstop. Young didn't have a chance on it. So still 0-2. Shortstop Emily Wendt on deck for St. Lawrence. And that is lined in the left. That's going to fall. That will score 2. Bobbled, I think, in left field, excuse me. So I'm not sure if that's a double or a single, but it'll be a 2-run, 2 RBIs for Crane, and that'll make it 7-0. So here's Emily Wendt with the runner at second. That is chopped into the dirt for a foul ball. So officially it will be a single for Crane, and she'll advance on an error. That is fouled away, chopped in the dirt again. 0-2 now to Wendt. Runner second, 1 out here. The Saints have scored twice in the top of the third. That is swung on and missed. And the ball was in the dirt. So Wendt's going to reach, I guess, on a pass ball, but Young throws out Crane, moving to third on the play. So that would be a 2-5, and that is a second out. So they exchange a runner at second for one at first and an out. Not a bad trade for the Bears. So 2 outs, and that'll bring up Maeve Thompson. There goes the runner on the play, and that's going to be a stolen base for Wendt. The Saints being very aggressive on the base pass. Thompson is 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the first, grounded out to third to lead off to second. Here's the 1-0. That is low for ball 2. Saints have scored 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 here in the third. They lead it 7-0. 2-0 to Thompson. That is line foul down the third base line. So a strike. 2-1. 2-1 from Horn. That is outside for ball 3. Again, Wendt is on second. Struck out and then stole a base. She reached on a pass ball. There's a walk to Maeve Thompson. And that's the first walk surrendered by Horn this afternoon. So runners at first and second. And here's Kaylin Yonley. Yonley is 2 for 2 with 2 singles and 2 runs scored. She's also got a stolen base. Takes high there, 1-0. That is lined into right field for a base hit. Pleat gets the ball in, throws it home, but just beating the throw is Wendt to make it 8-0. So an RBI single for Yonley. The other runners move up. Thompson will go to second. Actually, I think I got the wrong runner scoring. Crane scored. No, she was out. I take that back. I had the right runner. Wendt scored on the play. And that is high to Kloft. She's 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. And she scored a run in the first. Got a run in on a ground out in the second. That is chopped foul. One and one the count on Allison Kloft, the third baseman for the Saints. And that is low and away. 2 balls and a strike. Again, Kloft was the leading hitter coming into the game for St. Lawrence, hitting a red-hot .455. She's batting .500 in this game. 2-1, that is up and in, 3 balls and a strike. .3-1 pitch is low, and that is, no, he called it. Caught the outside corner and was just high enough. So that evens, that makes the count full. And again, Horn trying to escape more damage. Runners at first and second, 2 outs, 3-2 to Kloft. That is up and away, ball 4. Second walk of the inning. And that'll load the bases. Thompson moves to third. Yonley to second. And that'll bring up Isabel Moreno, the 9th hitter of the inning. High foul ball out of play down the third base line. So 0-1 to Moreno. She's 0 for 2, but did reach on an error and score. She stole a base in the first inning. That is low and inside, 1-1. And another one low and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Moreno. Two-one. Popped up. Rosick underneath it. Makes the grab, and that'll retire the side, but not before the Saints get 3 runs on 3 hits and 2 errors. They leave 3 as we head to So Sophia Pleat will lead it off for the Bears in the bottom of the third. Try to get something going here. Bears right fielder, and lets that one sail outside for ball one. Smith has rolled through the first six hitters for Potsdam without allowing a hit or a base runner. Struck out 2 of the last 3. That one is taken for a strike, 1-1. That is fouled back over the Saints dugout, so ball and 2 strikes now. Pleat will be followed by Young, Cronin, and then if a base runner reaches, top of the order, Rosick. 1-2. That is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pleat hitting .274 this season. She's got 17 base hits, 2 doubles. She's got 4 RBIs. And that is looped towards short and caught in the air by Emily Wendt. And that'll be the first out of the inning. So a P6. More like an L6, but not hit real hard. So the Bears catcher, Calissa Young, will step in. That is taken for a strike, 0-1. Again, the Saints lead it 8-0 here through 2 1/3, excuse me. That is a strike, swung on and missed by Young. No balls and 2 strikes. And that just outside, a ball and 2 strikes now to Young. Swung on and missed. That is the 3rd strikeout of the game for Madison Smith, and she's now on a roll. She struck out 3 of the last 5 hitters.
Now batting.
So Cadence Cronin will step in for Potsdam. Cronin hitting .278. She's got 20 hits this season, 3 doubles. Takes a ball. She's also got 1 triple. Here's the 1-0. Swung on and missed. A ball and 2 strikes now. That is chopped to short, picked up by Wendt, fires to first in time. Another 1-2-3 inning for Madison Smith. 3 up, 3 down here. The Saints lead at 8-0 as we head to the top of the 4th. So we are about to start the top of the 4th. Leah Verschneider, the Saints third baseman, will step in. She's 0 for 2. Reached on an error and scored in the 3rd. Swung on and missed there. That one seemed to have some good movement on it from Horn. Saints lead it 8-0 here in the top of the fourth. They scored 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and 3 last inning. Here's the 0-1. And that is lined into left field, so a base hit for Verschneider, her first of the game. And the Saints' 9th of the contest. So Marina Wan now will come to the plate. She is 2 for 2 with 2 runs driven in, a run scored, and a stolen base. So she's had a pretty good day so far, the Saints center fielder. Horn rocks and fires and throws one past her for a strike. Here's the 0-1. That is hit high and long, but well foul and out of play. 0-2. The 0-2 from Horn. And that is fouled back. Designated player Marley Monroe on deck for St. Lawrence. The 0-2 for Juan, fouled down the third base line. Still 0-2. Again. High fly ball to deep left field. That is way out of here. A 2-run shot for Marina Wan. And that's going to make it 10-0 St. Lawrence. That's Juan's first homer of the season. And the Saints with a commanding 10-0 lead. That'll bring up Marley Monroe. We'll try to keep it going for St. Lawrence. She is 0 for 2. Flew out to center field in the first and to right field in the third. That is low for ball 1. And that is chopped foul down the third base line. One and one here to Monroe. That is lined into center. Peyton St. Clair charging in and makes the shoestring catch there. And that'll be the first out of the inning. So an F8 for Monroe. So here is the Saints catcher, Emily Crane. Reached on an error in the first, drove in 2 with a single in the third, and was thrown out trying to advance on a pass ball at third base. So 1 out, nobody aboard for Crane. She takes strike 1. Number 9 hitter Emily Wendt on deck for St. Lawrence. The 0-1. That is lined into left center field. Over to plate is Fagan. She'll throw it in and hold Crane to a single. So here's Wendt. She grounded out to third in the first And she reached on a pass ball that she actually struck out on and then came around to score last inning. That is chopped to short. Bad hop there off of Rosick's left arm and into center field. I'd give her a base hit there. That's a tough one. So runners at first and second, and now we've got top of the order, Maeve Thompson, the second baseman, up. Hit hard to short. Nice stab there by Rosick. Fires to first. And the runners advance, but a good play by Rosick. 6-3 put out. So that is the second out. And that'll bring up Kaylin Yonley. Yonley is 3 for 3 with 3 singles, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Takes that one inside. I guess that was a strike, so 0-1. And that's strike 2. The 0-2. Chopped past Cadence Cronin into right field. 2 runs are going to score on that. So an RBI single, 2-run RBI single for Kaylin Yonley, and that'll make it 12-0. So here is Allison Kloft. Kloft is 2 for 2 with a walk. She's got 2 RBIs and a run scored. Actually, he's 1 for 2 with a walk, and that's a strike there. Singled in a run and scored in the first, grounded out and drove in a run in the second, and walked in the third and was stranded. Here's the 0-1 from Horn. And that's hit up the middle, a base hit there for Kloft. Yonley will move to second, and that'll bring up Isabel Moreno, the 9th hitter in the inning. Moreno is 0 for 3, but she reached on an error, and scored in the first, and stole a base. She also grounded out to short in the second and popped up to short in the third. That is lined in the left. Picked up there by Fagan. She'll get it in quick. The runner is going to score on the play, and then the ball skips away, and the runners advance. So an RBI single for Moreno, and they advance as the ball gets away. And that'll make it 13-0, St. Lawrence. And now we've got something. I don't know if it's a pinch runner, pinch hitter. And so we have a pinch hitter for the Saints. It is going to be Chloe Fontaine with runners in second and third and 2 outs. Takes a strike there. Swings through that one, quickly 0-2 on Chloe Fontaine, the freshman first baseman from Manchester, Connecticut. Trying to pad the already good-sized lead for the Saints. The 0-2, that hits her in the helmet, and she'll go down to first. Looks like she's all right. That rose up and in, went out the front of her helmet. So hit by a pitch there, and that'll load the bases, and that'll bring up Marina Juan. Juan, earlier in the inning, hit a 2-run shot, a monster shot over the left field fence, her first of the season. There's a high fly ball to left field. Getting under is Fagan. Drifting back makes the grab. So that'll retire the side, but not before the Saints score 5 more. They lead at 13-0. They get 5 runs on 7 hits and so Alexis Rosick will lead it off in the bottom of the 4th for Potsdam. She's 0 for 1, grounded out to short in the first inning. Saints again added 5 more in the top of the 5th. Sorry, top of the 4th to make it 13-0. That's taken for strike 1. Birmingham and St. Clair will follow Rosick. Here's the 0-1. That is high, 1-1. That is popped towards second. That's going to fall. An infield hit, almost perfectly placed. The second baseman, Thompson, was playing back, and it just kind of died there. And good speed for Rosick, and that's the first base hit and first base runner of the game for Potsdam. Birmingham popped up to the catcher in the first inning. Birmingham is one of the Bears' threats at the plate. Again, coming into the game, batting .379. That is taken low, I believe, for ball 1. There's a bunt there by Birmingham, and runner will advance, and 1-3 put out there. Birmingham tripped up there at the end of the play. Not sure if she went over Verschneider's feet or something else, but she rolled and hit the ground pretty hard. So Rosick is at second with 1 out now, and that'll bring up Peyton St. Clair. Again, St. Clair leads the Bears in homers and RBIs, tied for the lead in hits. Actually, she's 1 behind Rosick now. She's got 31, Rosick with 32. That is taken for strike 1. St. Clair popped up to the first baseman, Verschneider, in the first inning. Here's the 0-1. Swung out and missed. Good cut there by St. Clair. That rose up and in on her. Here's the 0-2. It's a high fly ball. Moving over under it is Juan trying to make the grab. She does in fair territory. And that'll be the second out of the inning. So here's the Bears' third baseman, Madeline Wasserman. She struck out in the second inning. Again, 2 outs, Rosick at second. And she takes strike 1. Bears' first runner in scoring position here. Base hit would probably bring Rosick around. That is fouled away, so it is still 0-2. That is pop foul. Wasserman staying alive. If she gets aboard, Sam Horn would be next. That is low for ball one. So ball and 2 strikes now to Madeline Wasserman. And is fouled back, still 1-2. Again, Madeline Smith, the Saints starting pitcher, has been very impressive. She's allowed just 1 hit through 3 2/3 innings. She's got 3 strikeouts. One-two to Wasserman again, chopped to third, picked up by Clough, fired to first, and that'll retire the side. So, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left, and we head to the top of the 5th. St. Lawrence leads Potsdam 13-0. So the Saints will start off the top of the 5th with a pinch hitter. Is going to be Maggie Fay, the freshman, is going to pinch hit for Marley Monroe. And she lines one to Rosick. It's short. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Good start for Horn. So an L6, and that'll bring up Emily Crane, the Saints catcher. She is 2 for 3, but has reached base in all 3 innings. 2 runs, actually 1 run scored. And that one misses. She's got 2 RBIs as well. 1-0 to Crane. The 9th hitter, Emily Wendt, on deck. Here's the 1-0. Hit. And that was caught in the air by Wasserman. It was low, but she kept it off the ground. So another line out. So an L5, 2 line outs. And 2 outs. As we get to Wendt. Wendt is 1 for 3. With 2 runs scored and stolen base. That is looped into left center field. That'll be a base hit. She's going to head to second. Never stopped, and she is out. So a single. And not sure who threw it in, but a nice, so I think Peyton St. Clair. So nice play there to end the top of the 5th. So with that, 3 up, 3 down, they did get a hit, so no runs on 1 hit, no errors, none left. And we head to the bottom of the 5th inning with the Saints leading 13-0. So Sam Horn will lead it off for Potsdam in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch from Smith. That is lined to the second baseman, Thompson. Again, one pitch, one out. So an L4. And that'll bring up Chloe Cuttriff, the Bears' second baseman. And did she go? She did not. Checking with Charles Langlois at first base. So 1-0 to Cuttriff. That is taken for a strike. 1-1. Sophia Pleat on deck for the Bears. Here's the 1-1. That is low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. One pitch. That is looped towards center field. Is it going to hang up? It does. Kaylin Yonley makes the grab for the second out in F8. So here is Sophia Pleat. She is 0 for 1. She popped a short in the 3rd inning. That is up and away for ball 1. With 17 base hits this season and takes low, ball 2. As I mentioned previously, Smith is rolled today. Just the 1 hit she's allowed for St. Lawrence. That is fouled into the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. That one was kind of sinking. I think Pleat topped the ball. Here's the 2-1. Swung out and missed. Count is even. 2-2. That one kind of rose. Two pitch. That is hit high over to second base. Thompson underneath makes the grab, and that's game 1. The Saints win 13-0. We'll run through the stats quickly here. St. Lawrence, 13 runs on 16 hits, no errors. The Bears, no runs, 1 hit, 7 errors. And real quickly, we will look at the home box. Alexis Rosick with Potsdam's only hit. Sam Horn will fall to 3 and 7. She went 5 innings, 13 runs, but only 7 earned on 16 hits. She walked 2 and she struck out 1 for the Saints. Kaylin Yonley, a monster day for St. Lawrence. She was 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Allison Kloft was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 1 run scored. Maeve Thompson was 1 for 3 with a run scored. Isabel Moreno was 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Leah Berschneider was 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Marina Wan, 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs scored. She hit a monster home run in that contest in the first one. Emily Crane, the catcher for the Saints, 2 for 4 with 2 RBI and a run scored. Emily Went was 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. And Madison Smith, again, had a great day. She improves to 5-0 on the season. She allowed just 1 hit and struck out 3. So with that, the Saints take game 1, 13-0, and we'll be back in 20 minutes or so for game 2. So we are back here to start game 2. The Bears and Saints. Here's the first pitch from Emily Birmingham, and Maeve Thompson, the Saints second baseman, takes ball one high, or actually takes strike one, excuse me. The Saints will have a lot of lineup changes that we'll go through shortly. The Bears pretty much the same, except there's a strike. Except Birmingham, instead of the designated player, she is in the circle pitching for Potsdam, and Sam Horn, who pitched game 1, is the designated player. Here's the 0-2, and that is low for ball 1. One, 2 from Birmingham is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two and 2. That is inside, and we are now at a full count. So real quick, the Bears defense. Birmingham in the circle. Calissa Young still behind the plate. Cadence Cronin at first. Chloe Kutroff at second. Alexis Rosick at short. Madeline Wasserman at third. Sophia Pleat moves to left field. That is popped up into medium center field. Payne St. Clair is underneath it. So St. Clair is in center, and Hannah Fagan is in right field. So Pleat and Fagan have switched fields, and that's the only other change for the Potsdam lineup from game 1. So here is Lane Fritz, the right fielder. She did not play in game 1 for the Saints. Grounds to Rosick. She backhands it, fires at first. A nice clean play there. 2 up, 2 down for the Saints and the Bears in the first. 6-3 put out there, and here's Allison Kloft. Kloft, a big game 1. She was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. And again, coming into today, she was hitting .455. Don't have her updated batting average now. Here's the first pitch. Catches the outside corner, and it is 0-1 to Kloft. That is inside, 1-1. On deck, if Kloft reaches, is the new shortstop, Abby Gallus. That is inside, 2 balls and a strike. 2 quick outs here. Birmingham trying to go 3 up, 3 down in the first. She's got to get through Allison Kloft first, though. 2-1. That is lined into right field. Hannah Fagan makes the grab as she was heading into foul territory. So a perfect 3 up, 3 down inning for Birmingham in the first. And we will head to the bottom of the first inning in game 2. Saints nothing, Bears about to bat. So we will go through the Saints lineup here. Hannah Reardon will start game 2, pitching for the Saints. Emily Cianski will be behind the plate for game 2. Olivia Corporal is the first baseman. Maeve Thompson still the second baseman. Abby Gallus, as I mentioned, at short this game. Allison Kloft still at third. Quinn Jerome, the new left fielder for St. Lawrence. Zoe Davenport, the new center fielder for the Saints. And Lane Fritz, who I mentioned, is the new right fielder. And the Bears, again, pretty similar lineup. It'll be Rosick leading off, followed by Birmingham, St. Clair, Horn, Wasserman, Kutroff, Pleat, Cronin, Young. And the flex is Hannah Fagan in right field.
Alexis Rosick.
And Rosick had an infield hit in game 1. That was the Bears' only hit. Kind of looped it perfectly between the pitcher and the second baseman and beat out the throw. And that is looped into left field. Over is Jerome. That'll fall in front of her. So a base hit, a leadoff base hit for the Bears. Alexis Rosick, and a much nicer start to this one.
Now batting number 1, Emily Birmingham.
So Birmingham a chance to help her own cause with Rosick aboard and nobody out. We'll see if Rosick is going to steal. There she goes. The throw down to second. And she missed her. The throw was a good one from Cianski. Gallus got there, but I think she maybe cut in too far, and Rosick got behind the tag. So a quick stolen base there, and it is 1-1 now to Birmingham. That makes it 2-1 as it was high. 2-0, excuse me. 2-0. So Rosick at second, nobody out. Here is Birmingham fouling it back. Just above us here in the press box, and it is 2-1 now. Peyton Sinclair, the Bears' best hitter on the season, is on deck. 2-1, that is low. 3 balls and a strike. The Bears have speed. They get on base. They can put pressure on a pitcher. That is low, so a walk here, and runners at first and second for Potsdam. They threaten in the bottom of the first. So St. Clair is up
Now batting number 5.
with 2 runners on and nobody out. Reardon is a sophomore from Stowe, Massachusetts. And a little bit of a jam here early. And St. Clair takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Here's the 0-1. That is chopped foul down the third base line. So Reardon ahead, 0-2 on St. Clair. Sam Horn on deck for Potsdam. Here's the 0-2. That is low and inside. Rosick got a bigger lead, but retreats back to second base. 1-2 to Peyton St. Clair. That is a high fly ball, but not deep. Charging in is Jerome. She'll make the grab. So an F7 in the first out of the inning for Potsdam. I saw it go up. From this angle, it's tough to tell sometimes if it's going to carry or what the trajectory is, and that one didn't have much. It went high. So here's Sam Horn, 1 down, runners at first and second. Still a chance for Potsdam. And that one, I think she swings through, gets away from the catcher, and Rosick heads down to third, and Birmingham to second. So it was kind of a weird play. It was a check swing by Horn. I thought it was a strike. And that is low and away. We'll see what the umpire, if he signals. I think it's 2-0. So they must not have said Horn went around. But it was kind of up and in. And Cianski, I think, had a little trouble with it. That is low. 3 balls and no strikes. Excuse me, Cianski behind the plate. And there's a strike. So not a bad take by Horn. Make her throw you one, and she did there. So 3 balls and 1 strike. Runners at second and third, 1 out for Sam Horn here. A chance to do some damage for Potsdam. That is high for ball 4. Reardon has walked the bases loaded. And that'll bring up Madeline Wasserman.
Now batting number 15, Madeline Wasserman.
So a big chance for Potsdam to jump in front here. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bottom of the first, no score. That is high and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Reardon came in today. She's 1-3 in 6 starts with a 5.46 ERA. There's a ball ripped foul there by Wasserman, but she was way in front of it. Straighten it out a little bit. It's probably an extra base hit. So 1-1 to Wasserman. Kucherov on deck. That is low and away. 2-1. Reardon gave up a leadoff single to Rosick, who stole a base. She walked Birmingham, got St. Clair to fly out, and walked Horn. That is lined in the left field. Rosick's going to score. Here comes Birmingham, and it is 2-0 Potsdam. That'll get away from the catcher at the end of the play, and moving to second is Madeline Wasserman. So a 2-run single for Wasserman, and then she advances to second. And the Bears are in business here, up 2-0 in the bottom of the first. And here's Chloe Kucherov with a runner at second and 1 out. Kucherov trying to keep things going for Potsdam, but that was a big hit by Wasserman.
Now batting number 3, Chloe Kucherov.
First pitch from Reardon, that is high. Reardon throws hard, but struggling a little bit with control right now. Ball rising a little bit more probably than intended. Of course, it's hard to hit high fastballs there. That is popped up, and that is fouled back to the screen. So Kucherov squared to bunt there and popped it back up. So it is 1-1. Swung on and missed. So 1-2. So Horn is at third and Wasserman at second. Chopped foul down the third base line. Still 1-2. Sophia Pleat on deck for Potsdam. That is popped up. Underneath it is Kloft. She makes the grab for the second out. So a P5 there, and that'll bring up Pleat.
Sophia Pleat.
Still a chance, a big opportunity for the Bears here. Pleat can lace one into the outfield. Bears will get at least one more, but she's got to make it happen. Here's Reardon with 2 outs. First pitch to Pleat is taken for strike 1. The 0-1 is low, blocked by Syansky. And that prevents a runner, Horn, from coming home. So nice job there. 1-1. That is popped up. Kloft underneath it, makes the grab. That retires the side, but the Bears strike first, and a 2-run single by Madeline Wasserman. They lead it 2-0 after 1. We'll be back for the start of the second in a minute. So, leading off the top of the second, Abby Gallus, the shortstop for St. Lawrence, and she fouls that one away for strike one. Bears lead it 2-0. Maddie Wasserman with a 2-run single in the bottom of the first. Here's the 0-1 to Gallus, and that's lined into left field for a base hit. First hit of the second game for the Saints. So here is the designated player, Madison Connolly. Connolly did not play in game one. Connolly 6 base hits this season. That is low for ball one. And that is outside for a ball. .2-0 from Birmingham. It is hit high into center field, charging in. Actually, a nice play by Kutroff. Goes back to first. They double her off. A double play there for the Bears. Nice alert play by Kutroff. And that was a hard play. I thought it was going to have to be St. Clair charging in to make that one, but she wouldn't have gotten there. Nice play over the shoulder by Kutroff. Turns around and throws out the runner at first to double her off. And with that, that'll bring up the first baseman, Olivia Corporal. And she takes a ball. Here's a 1-0. That is up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. And that is up and away. 3-0 now. So there are 2 outs, nobody on. Birmingham in a 3-0 hole to Corporal. That is taken on the inside corner for strike one. That is low for ball 4. Corporal will walk. And that'll bring up the catcher, Emily Syansky. Take strike one. If Syansky reaches, the center fielder Zoe Davenport is on deck. Here is the 0-1. That is outside. 1-1 to Syansky. The 1-1. That is fouled away. Ball and 2 strikes now to the Saints catcher. Birmingham trying to get out of this inning. Gave up a leadoff single, but then got a line-out double play. Then walked Olivia Corporal, who's on first. That is popped foul. Actually fouled back over the backstop. Still 1-2. Here's the 1-2. That is up and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two from Birmingham. There's a high fly ball. Underneath it is Pleat. She makes the grab. That is the 3rd out. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left for the Saints. We head to the bottom of the second. Bears lead it 2-0. So Cadence Cronin will lead off for the Bears in the bottom of the second. She's just 0 for 1 in game 1. Takes a ball there. She went there for strike 1. Here's the 1-1. That's foul back to the backstop. Ball and 2 strikes. Following Cronin will be Calissa Young, and then top of the order, Alexis Rosick. Chopped to short, picked up by Gallus, fires the first in time. A 5-3 put out there to start the bottom of the second.
Now batting, number 6, Calissa Young.
Yeah, 6-3. That is hit to center, and that is dropped by Davenport. Looked like she had it, and then it came out of the glove. She probably got to make that one. So Young will reach on an E8.
Now batting, number 2.
And I think I said, what did I say, 5-3, and it was a 6-3? Yeah, so it ground out to shortstop for Cronin, so that was 6-3. So here is Alexis Rosick, who singled, stole a base, and scored in the first, and she's got another base hit here to center, and that's going to skip past Davenport, so the runner's going to pick up an extra base. So another single by Rosick, and I think another E8.
Now batting, number 1.
So Young will go all the way to third, Rosick at second, and that'll bring up Emily Birmingham, who walked and scored in the first. Potsdam with some life here offensively in the bottom of the second. They lead it 2-0. And was that a strike? It was a ball. Ball 1 to Emily Birmingham. Chance here to help her own cause. That is a strike. So 1-1. That is fouled away towards the Bears dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Birmingham second on the team, tied for second on the team with RBIs this year with 15. And that is a ball, 2-2. That is high. Almost fooled Birmingham. She had to kind of pull back, but never made a serious offer at it. So count is full. Reardon in a bit of a jam again. And that is strike 3. Birmingham was, I think, thought it might have been a little low, but it fooled her. And that is the second out of the inning.
Now batting, number 5, Peyton St. Clair.
So here's Peyton St. Clair, who flew out to center field in the first and takes ball 1 there. 1-0, and that is a strike. So ball and a strike now. Runners at second and third for Potsdam, 2 outs. And that is outside. 2-1. And that is hit hard to third. Nice grab there by Kloft. Throws over in time, and the Saints escape with no runs coming in there for Potsdam. A nice diving grab by Allison Kloft to finish off the inning. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 errors, 2 left, and the Bears lead at 2-0 as we head to the top of the third. So we're here to start the top of the third inning, and to lead it off for the Saints is Zoe Davenport, the center fielder. Again, did not play in game 1. First pitch from Birmingham is up and away for ball 1. Bears lead at 2-0. Again, Madeline Wasserman with a 2-run single in the first, and that's the difference right now. Bears threatened in the bottom of the second, but were unable to score, thanks in part to a great defensive play by Kloft, the third baseman. There's a high fly ball to left center. Pleat is under it, makes the grab, so that's the first out of the inning. So the left fielder, Quinn Jerome, batting for the Saints. This is her first bat of the day. She also did not play in game 1. And then it'll be top of the order, Maeve Thompson. She squares, but pulled it back for strike 1. Here's the 0-1. That is strike 2, up and in. Still in the strike zone, so Birmingham in front, 0-2. 1 out, nobody on here for the Saints in the top of the third. The 0-2 taken. Looked pretty good there, so a called third strike and the first strikeout of the contest for Emily Birmingham. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the third. So we have Maeve Thompson, who did play in game 1, had a pretty good game in game 1, but she flew out. She's 0 for 1 here in this one. takes a ball low. Flew out to center field to lead off the game. Here's the 1-0. That is well outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Lane Fritz on deck for St. Lawrence. (2-0 to Thompson. It is a high fly ball. Charging in is Pleat, but she'll be called off, and it'll be a last-second grab by Peyton St. Clair. So 3 up, 3 down, a perfect inning for Emily Birmingham. We head to the bottom of the third. The Bears lead the Saints 2-0. So Horn will lead it off in the bottom of the third for the Bears. Takes ball 1 low. Sayansky digs it out and throws it back to Reardon. So it'll be Horn, Wasserman, and Kutroff. Horn walked and was stranded in the first. Chops to short under the glove of Abby Gallus. Hard hit ball. So Horn will get the base hit. Now she'll be pinch run for. And it'll be Mia Cooper who's going to run for Horn. So Horn with a base hit. Hard hit ball to short, and she'll be pinch run for. Here is Maddie Wasserman, who has the 2 runs batted in. She fouls that one back.
Now batting, number 15, Maddie Wasserman.
Here's the 0-1. That is hit high and foul over the Bears dugout. So it is 0-2. That's chipped back to the pitcher. Reardon will pick it up, go to first. The runner will advance, but at a 1-3 put out there for the first out. Chloe Kutroff up now. She popped out to third base in the first inning. She's got a runner in scoring position here. First pitch from Reardon is up and away for ball 1. Sophia Pleat on deck for the Bears. That's hit to Clough. She looks the runner back. Now she's got her. She got too far off, so fielder's choice there. I believe a 5-4 put out. Cooper was too far off the bag, so fielder's choice. Now there are 2 outs and Chloe Kutroff at first base. Here is Sophia Pleat, popped out to third base. And that's going to fall in there. Base hit for Pleat. So Cuttriff will move to second on the play, and the Bears have runners at first and second with 2 outs.
Now batting.
A chance here for Cadence Cronin, who is tied for the Bears RBI lead. Tied for second with 15 RBIs. Big opportunity here. First pitch is fouled away. Cronin grounded out to short in the second inning. So she's 0 for 1. That is high. 1-1. Reardon has settled down for the Bears. She just gave up that one hit, and that's the difference right now. She's been in a jam, in and out of jams, but she has usually found her way out of it. Here's the 1-1. That is fouled away. A ball and 2 strikes now to Cronin. Calissa Young is on deck for Potsdam. Here's the 1-2. That is low and away for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Potsdam has gotten runners on in each inning. They've scored in the first. Looking for more. That's fouled back. 2 balls and 2 strikes still. Again, the Saints took game 1 13-0. Bears looking to bounce back here in game 2. Here's the 2-2. That is low and inside. Full count. (3-2) to Cronin. Fouled away. Good job of protecting there. Not a great pitch to hit, I don't believe, but definitely a strike. 3-2 again. And that is strike 3, and that'll end the inning and end the threat. Bears get 2 hits. They leave 2 on the base paths, and they lead 2-0 after. Lane Fritz to lead off the top of the 4th for St. Lawrence. She is 0 for 1, grounded out to short in the first. She's the right fielder. That is lined into right field. She's got a base hit. So a leadoff single for Lane Fritz, and that's just the second hit of game 2 for St. Lawrence. And that'll bring up Allison Croft. The talented hitting third baseman for the Saints. Also plays very good defense. Talented all around. Here's the first pitch from Birmingham. That is taken for strike 1. Potsdam leads it 2-0. Again, scored 2 in the bottom of the first on a Madeline Wasserman 2-run single. That is pop foul, so it's quickly 0-2 on Croft. The 0-2, and that is foul down the first base line and out of play. She's moving her around closer to fair territory, but not there yet. 0-2. Squaring, pulls back, and chops that one foul way out in front of that. That was in on the hands. Good battle here between Kloft and Birmingham. High fly ball again, fouled over the Saints dugout. Kloft again squaring. Probably pull it back again. She's got 2 strikes. That one fouled away again. Still 0-2. Fritz at first base after a single to right. That one is lined foul down the left field line. She's been behind the first several pitches, and she was in front of that one. Oh, 0-2 again. Again she squares. Again she'll pull back. Fouled off again. A lot of times you see, when you see a marathon at bat like this, bunch of foul balls make the pitcher throw a lot. The hitter a lot of times comes out on top here. We'll see if that happens. Birmingham again. 0-2 to Kloft. Runner at first. And that is looped. Nice grab there by Rosick. If that had fallen in, it was an easy base hit. Except Fritz, I think, did not run smartly. But if it had fallen in, they might have had a chance to get her at second. But a diving grab by Rosick robs Kloft of a base hit. So here's Abby Gallus, the Saints shortstop. She singled and was doubled off in the first. That was high for ball 1. So 1 out here with Lane Fritz at first. 1-0 to Gallus. And that is taken on the inside corner for strike 1. Madison Connolly is next for the Saints. 1-1 from Birmingham. And that is lined fair ball just inside the chalk. Might have hit the chalk. So double there by Gallus. And coming in to score is Fritz. So an RBI double by Gallus cuts the Bears' lead in half. It is 2-1 Potsdam. Looked like maybe the chalk kicked up there where the ball landed, so it was easier to make the right call on that. It was definitely a fair ball, hit hard. And here's Madison Connolly, who hit into a double play. She popped up to second, and Chloe Kutchoff made a smart play, doubled off the runner first. That goes off the glove of Young to the backstop, and moving over on the wild pitch is Abby Gallus. So with 1 out here, the Saints have the tying run at third. 1-0 to Madison Connolly. That is up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Birmingham trying to shut this inning down before the Saints can do any more damage. That taken for strike 1. So 2-1 now to Connolly. Leadoff single by Fritz. A diving grab robbed Kloft by Rosick. That is outside. 3 balls and a strike. And then a hard hit RBI double by Abby Gallus brought in the first Saints run. That is a high fly ball to right field. Underneath it is Fagan. Here comes a runner. And they got her. A nice throw by Hannah Fagan, and they get the runner at home. That was Abby Gallus. It was very close. The throw definitely beat her. And it was just a matter of if the tag was going to get to her in time. And the home plate umpire, Charles Langlois, said yes. So we head to the bottom of the fourth. The Bears leading 2-1. Calissa Young will lead off the bottom of the fourth for Potsdam, and she'll chop that one into left field for a leadoff single.
Now batting, number 2, Alexis Rosick.
So Rosick, who is 2 for 2 with a run scored and a stolen base, will step in. Trying to move Young along. Young, good speed. That is low. Syansky scoops it, though. Nice pick there, else Young was off to the races. So 1-0 to Rosick. That is high. Now the throw down from Syansky, but diving back in easily is Young. Two and 0 to Rosick. That is up and away. 3-0 now. Again, we've talked about Reardon. Occasionally will have a little bit location issues, but she has kept her team in this one. That is taken for a strike. So 3 balls and a strike now to Rosick. Good hitters count. She's got something to go after. The 3-1 laced up the middle for a base hit. Nice pretty single there for Rosick. She hit it so hard at Davenport. Young had to stop at second, but there are runners at first and second with nobody out. And Rosick is 3 for 3. So here's Emily Birmingham. She takes high for ball 1. Birmingham walked and scored in the first, and she struck out looking in the second. That is lined at the second baseman, Maeve Thompson, and she makes the grab. Tough one there. Hit the ball hard, but right at the second baseman. So 1 out, runners at first and second, but again, here's the Bears' big bat in Peyton St. Clair. Chops it to third, and Klopp stepped on the bag there, fires it first for the double play. So I believe that would be a U5-3. Yeah. So that'll retire the side. The Bears threaten, but they do not score. They still lead it, though, 2-1, heading to the top of the 5th. So it will be the first baseman, Olivia Corporal, leading off for St. Lawrence. The Saints threatened last inning. They got one. They had the tying run at third, couldn't push it across. Bears threatened in the bottom of the fourth, had the first two runners on, first and second, and couldn't add to their lead. So it's still 2-1 Potsdam in the top of the fifth. And Corporal takes low ball one. Again, she walked in the second, was stranded there. Emily Syansky is on deck for St. Lawrence. Here's the 1-0. That is taken on the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tough to see the angle from exactly where we are in the press box, but Charles Langlois has been consistent calling that inside corner for all of game 2. Here's the 1-1. That is up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Two-1 from Birmingham. Chop foul. 2-2. Birmingham leading the Bears with 5 wins this year, giving her a chance at number 6. Here's the 2-2 to Corporal. And that is outside. Count is full. I believe just the 1 walk from Birmingham this afternoon, and it was to Corporal back in the second. That is popped up. Cutruff underneath it, puts it away. 1 up, 1 down here in the top of the fifth. So the Saints catcher, Emily Syansky, is up now. She flew out to left field in her only at bat in the second inning. She is 0 for 1. Birmingham rocks and fires. Catches the outside corner for strike 1. Davenport is on deck, and followed by Quinn Jerome if one of them get on base. Here is the 0-1. That is up and in for a ball. The 1-1 to Syansky. And that is foul down the third base line. Ball and 2 strikes now. The 1-2 from Birmingham. Just missed the outside corner. 2-2. Right exactly where Birmingham wanted it, but Syansky showed a good eye there, not taking the bait. Here's the 2-2. That's foul back to the screen. Still 2-2. Again. That is looped into left. It'll hang up there, and Sophia Pleat, off her glove, and that'll be a 2-base error there. Syansky moves to second. Took my eye off it, and I think Sophia did too. So a runner at second with 1 out. So that'll bring up Zoe Davenport with the tying run at second. First pitch to Rosick at short, picks up, fires to first. Runner will head to second. They get the runner at first, but the runner at third gets in safely. Syansky waiting for the throw and then moving on the throw. So 6-3 there, and the runner advances. So the tying run is at third for the second inning in a row. But there are 2 outs and a chance for Birmingham to get out of this one. Here's Quinn Jerome. She is 0 for 1, struck out looking last time up in the third, and that was ball 1. If she gets aboard, it'll be Maeve Thompson in the top of the order. Here's the 1-0. Fouled back to the screen, 1-1. Here's the 1-1. That is high. 2 balls and a strike. That catches the inside corner. Again, 2-2. We talked about Charles Langlois has called that pitch all of game 2 on the inside corner. Chop to third. Wasserman fires in time. That'll retire the side. And the Bears still lead it 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. So here's Sam Horn leading off the bottom of the 5th for the Bears. Swing on a miss on the first pitch.
Number 17, Sam Horn.
So it is 1-1 now. That is just off the outside of the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Here's a 2-1. Chopped to short, picked up by Gallus, fires to first in time. A 6-3 put out there to lead off the bottom of the 5th. So here is Madeline Wasserman, who is 1 for 2, but she is the difference in the game right now. A 2-run single in the first inning. And the Bears still lead at 2-1. First pitch from Reardon, that is popped up. And the shortstop Gallus makes the grab for the second out. So a P6. And that'll bring up Chloe Cutruff. She popped up to third in the first inning, and she reached on a fielder's choice in the third. First pitch from Reardon. That is hit to short. Gallus there again. Fires to first, and that'll retire the side in order. And I think that is the first time that Reardon has retired the side in order today. So she's getting stronger as she goes. So Maeve Thompson, the second baseman, will lead off the top of the 6th inning for the Saints. She is 0 for 2, has flown out to center field and Peyton St. Clair twice. That one is fouled back over the backstop for strike one. And that is hit back up the middle. A bad hop there. So a clean base hit for Maeve Thompson to lead off the top of the 6th. Rosick was there. Her glove was there. Her eyes were on the ball. And it just at the last second popped up over her left elbow. So here is Lane Fritz with a runner at first and nobody out. That is lined into center. Back is St. Clair at the track, makes the grab, though, for the first out of the inning. So Fritz gave that one a ride, but St. Clair saw it all the way. And here is Allison Kloft. Had a big game one. She's 0 for 2 in game 2, but has played well defensively. That is taken inside for ball one. She flew out to right field in the first and kind of looped one to short. It was actually over third base, and Rosick dove and robbed her. Here's the 1-0. Just misses the outside corner. 2 balls and no strikes to Kloft. A dangerous hitter despite her 0 for 2 so far. Thompson on first with 1 out. She represents the tying run. Here's the 2-0 to Kloft. Chops that one foul. 2 balls and a strike. Kloft has changed her batting stance a little bit, and obviously deliberately. She kind of was squaring a little bit the last time up, I think. I don't know if it was fully squaring, but now she kind of has been holding her bat out directly towards Birmingham in the circle. Here's the 2-1. That is fouled back over the press box. So we'll see if the adjustment can help Kloft get aboard here. Now she's squaring again. Pulls it back. It's a high fly ball to center field. In comes St. Clair, almost at second base. Makes the grab, though, for the second out. Good range and another good catch in center field for the Bears center fielder. So that'll bring up Abby Gallus. Gallus is 2 for 2, singled, was doubled off in the second, and then doubled in the Saints' only run in the fourth. And that one is lined to Rosick, made it look easy, and that'll retire the side. So leadoff runner gets a base hit, a leadoff base hit by Maeve Thompson, and then 3 straight outs for Birmingham and the Bears. And we head to the bottom of the 6th. Potsdam leads it 2-1. So Sophia Pleat will lead it off for the Bears in the bottom of the 6th. She takes strike 1.
Number 11, Sophia Pleat.
Pleat is 1 for 2 with a single back in the 3rd. And that was a ball. So 1-1. complete Cronin Young, and then top of the order if the Bears can get anybody aboard. Here is the 1-1. That is popped up, and it is Thompson underneath it, and she puts it away for the first out. Cronin has grounded out to short and struck out, so she's 0 for 2 in game 2. And now we're going to have a substitution.
Cassidy Richards.
So we will have a pinch hitter for the Bears, Cassidy Richards, the freshman from Jay, New York, went to Ausable Valley.
Thank you. 21 for 25, 9 re-enters.
We're gonna let me a hit if we get there.
So, Reardon is set. Richards steps in for Potsdam. Swings through the first one for strike 1. 1 out, nobody on here. Bottom of the 6th, Bears leading 2-1. And takes strike 2. So quickly, Reardon ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. That is inside for ball 1. Takes outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. A high fly ball over first base. It will be caught in foul territory, I believe. Yes, she held on by Lane Fritz for the second out. So that'll bring up Calissa Young.
Calissa Young.
Young singled and was stranded in the 4th. She also reached on an error in the 2nd, so she's 1 for 2, but she has been on base both times so far. Reardon has retired. There's a base hit, and I jinxed her. That's going to be, nope, I thought it might be an extra base hit, but a nice play by Lane Fritz, who we couldn't see down in that corner, staying with it and keeping Young to a single. I was going to say that Reardon had retired 6 in a row prior to that base hit by Young. And Rosick will step in. She's 3 for 3 with a run scored today. A big chance for her to try to extend the lead. That is ball 1. And that misses the outside corner. 2 balls and no strikes. High fly ball into right field. Fritz underneath it makes the grab, and that'll retire the side. So the Bears get a 2-out single, but can't get anything else. As we head to the top of the 7th, the Bears lead it 2-1. So Madison Connolly will lead off the top of the 7th for the Saints. She is 0 for 2, popped into a double play in the 2nd and flew out to right field in the 4th. But singles into left here to lead off the 7th. And that'll bring up Olivia Corporal, the first baseman for the Saints. She walked in the 2nd and popped up to second base in the 5th. First pitch picked up by Rosick. They'll get the runner at second, so fielder's choice. Nice play by Rosick. Good decision making. Cuttriff was there to cover the bag. So a fielder's choice. Corporal basically switches places with Connolly. And now we have a substitution. So Corporal will be pinch run for, and that appears to be number 2, Emily Wendt, who played in the first game.
2 for 19.
She'll pinch run. So Connolly was erased on the 6-4. Corporal reaches on the fielder's choice. Wendt comes in to run for her. So here's Syansky. There's a high fly ball, and chasing it down is St. Clair, and she almost doubled off the runner first. She moved on that well to her right and then used the cannon in there to make it close. So an F8, that is the 2nd out of the inning. And that'll bring up Zoe Davenport. That is inside. Davenport is 0 for 2. She flew out to left field and grounded to short. Here's the 1-0. Taken 2 balls and no strikes. Quinn Jerome on deck for the Saints if they get to her. 2-1 Bears here in the top of the 7th. That is chopped foul down the third base line, picked up by Wasserman. Two and one. That is fouled back over the backstop. Both starting pitchers today, Emily Birmingham and Hannah Reardon, have pitched with a lot of runners on, but they've done a nice job pitching around and in and out of danger. And we find ourselves 2-1 here in the top of the 7th. That is inside, so the count is full. (3-2). High fly ball to left field. Pleat did she make the grab? She did. Again, kind of went behind the dugout where our view is, but she held on in foul territory, and the Bears hang on and win this one 2-1. So nice bounce back effort by Potsdam after dropping game 1. Well pitched by Emily Birmingham. A really nice job there, and a clutch first inning 2-run single by Madeline Wasserman turns out to be the difference. So we'll run through the stats here real quickly. For the Saints, Maeve Thompson was 1 for 3. Lane Fritz was 1 for 3 with a run. Abby Gallus, a shortstop, 2 for 3 with an RBI single. Madison Connolly was 1 for 3. So the Saints, 1 run on 5 hits, 3 errors. The Bears, 2 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. Hannah Reardon, again, started a little rough, but really reined it in. She allowed 2 earned runs on 8 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. She is a tough luck loser today, pitched well enough to win. For the Bears, Alexis Rosick, another great game for her leading off. She was 3 for 4 with a run scored. Emily Birmingham was 0 for 2 but scored a run. Sam Horn was 1 for 2. Madeline Wasserman 1 for 3 with the 2 RBIs. Sophia Pleat 1 for 3. And Calissa Young 2 for 3. Emily Birmingham picks up her 6th win of the season, allowing just the 1 run on 5 hits in 7 innings. She struck out 1 and walked 1. So with that, the Bears will split the doubleheader with the Saints. They'll snap a short losing skid, and that was their 10th victory of the season. They go to 10-17. The Saints, I take that back, 10-18 because they fell in game 1. The Saints are now 14-12. So with that, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. The Bears host SUNY Delhi starting at 2 p.m. You can watch it here on PotsdamBears.com.